I didn't know that night would gut me like a fish. The place was packed, glittering like something out of a Vanity Fair spread. Everyone was dressed like royalty, drinks in hand, fake smiles glued to their faces, all gathered under a banner that read, "Opening of the Century, Gray and Company, West Coast Branch." My wife, Melissa Gray, had outdone herself again, polished to perfection, standing at the center of it all with a glass of champagne raised. She was every bit the flawless PR queen she played on magazine covers. But what no one told me was that I wasn't just the husband tonight. I was the punchline. I arrived a bit late like she told me to. "Babe, don't stress, just come around 9. It'll be winding down, and we'll sneak away like we always do." That's what she said. I showed up at 8:53. I remember stepping into the marble-floored lobby of the new high-rise she'd practically begged me to fund. I had my best suit on, tailored Tom Ford, the one she liked me in. My assistant, Jared, had confirmed my speech notes were prepped. I was supposed to say a few words, cut the ribbon with her, be the supportive husband. I didn't even get a hello. Instead, as I stepped into the event space, I was greeted with chuckles. Not laughter, the ugly kind. Snickering, elbow nudges, whispers that weren't even trying to be discreet. And then someone in the back, drunk and loud. "The 1-minute man in bed is here." The entire room erupted. Not just laughter, roaring laughter, like a stand-up set was going down, and I was the sad punchline. I froze. My spine stiffened. And in the middle of the room, standing next to a tall, sharp-jawed man in a navy tux, Travis Lang, her regional director, was Melissa, my wife of 6 years, the woman I'd built empires with. She didn't even look surprised. She smirked. Then Travis leaned in close to her, whispered something, and laughed like a jackal. I took a step forward, my heart pounding, and that's when it happened. He looked at security, pointed at me, and said, "Get this impotent man out of here." I wish I could say I punched him in the jaw. I wish I caused a scene, flipped a table, made her cry. But I didn't. I walked, straight past the fake chandeliers, through the murmuring snakes and sequins, and out the front door. The driver opened the car door and asked if I was okay. I didn't answer. I just stared ahead and said, "Cancel every payment. Pull out of the business. I want my 70% back." That was $97 million. Minutes later, in the back seat of that black SUV, my phone blew up. 56 missed calls. All from Melissa. I let it ring, over and over, until it was silent again. Then, a knock at the door. I had barely gotten home, sat on the edge of the bed we shared, when the doorbell rang. Once, then again, then pounding. It was Melissa, in that same red dress she'd worn like a weapon. Eyes bloodshot, her lipstick smudged. She looked less polished now, like the mask was finally cracking. "Baby, I can explain," she started, all breathy and dramatic, mascara running like she was in a cheap soap opera. "It was a joke. Travis went too far. I didn't know he was gonna—" "Shut up," I said. My voice was calm, too calm. "Don't you dare talk to me like that, Jason." Her tone snapped. There it was, the real Melissa, the version no one but me had seen behind closed doors. The cold, cunning strategist with a heart made of steel and spite. She crossed her arms. "You humiliated me by walking out. What was I supposed to do? Let them think my husband can't even. You let the entire room laugh at me like I was a damn meme," I said, my voice shaking now. "You didn't even blink." "I was protecting my image," she snapped. That's when it hit me. Not just the betrayal. The choice. She had chosen to let them laugh. Chosen him. Chosen herself. And she expected me to swallow it. But I had already started something that would unravel everything she thought was hers. She just didn't know it yet that I didn't sleep that night. Melissa stood in the hallway of our penthouse for over an hour, alternately screaming and crying, threatening and begging. She banged on the door like some drunk lunatic until I finally told building security to remove her. I didn't yell. I didn't scream back. I just stared at the blacked-out window of our bedroom while she melted down like a reality TV villain. At 3:17 a.m., I got up, Not because I was ready to move on. I was still in shock. But something in my gut told me that this went deeper than some humiliating party joke. I needed to know how long this had been going on. How stupid I had really been. My hands moved faster than my thoughts. I logged into the shared iCloud account she forgot I set up years ago. Something we used for syncing calendars and vacation photos. Most people don't realize how many devices are tied to the same account until they're betrayed. Messages, photos, notes, emails. It was all there. The first photo hit like a brick. Her and Travis in a hotel suite in Miami. Champagne. Her straddling him. Pose that wasn't friendly. The date? 5 months ago. 2 weeks after our anniversary trip to Tuscany, where she cried on a gondola and told me how lucky she felt to have me. I kept digging. Venmo transactions. Drinks cocktail glass, $78. Room 507 face blowing a kiss, $300. For your mouth only winking face. I stopped reading. Dozens of messages. She'd named him Captain, like some 15-year-old playing fantasy roleplay. You make me feel like a woman, she'd texted him. Jason is just weak. All work, no fire. Weak. That word hit deeper than anything she said to my face. I'd worked like a dog to build this life. Built her agency from scratch when it was just a blog and a LinkedIn page. Hired her first team. Introduced her to investors. Signed as a silent partner so her name would shine. And she called me weak? I took screenshots of everything. I didn't know why yet. I wasn't thinking about divorce court or lawyers. I just needed to have it. I needed to see the truth. All of it. No more guessing, no more hoping. Just cold, digital betrayal staring back. By 5 a.m., I had a full folder. By 6 a.m., I had already made 3 calls, one to my lawyer, one to our mutual accountant, and one to my private investigator. At 7:12 a.m., she sent a message. Please let's talk. I know I messed up, but don't make this worse. Worse? I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the hidden folder she'd never thought I'd check. Our home camera system. She'd had most of the inside cameras disconnected last year for privacy. But she forgot the guest room camera was still active. The clip was just 10 seconds long. Travis, shirtless, walking out of the guest room at 11:04 a.m. 2 months ago. On a Saturday, while I was in Seattle closing a deal that bought us the Malibu house. She brought him into our home, into our bed. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen. My chest felt like it had caved in, but there were no tears. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream, but there was nothing, just silence. Eventually, I closed the laptop and walked into the bathroom. The mirror showed a man I barely recognized. Eyes hollow, jaw tight. But there was something else now. Clarity. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a pattern. A long, cruel game she played behind closed doors, while wearing the mask of a perfect wife. And now, she was about to find out what happens when the quiet one starts to speak. She showed up again the next night. I had just finished a call with my lawyer, going over how to separate my finances from hers without setting off alarms. Everything had to be quiet, controlled. I didn't want revenge. I wanted freedom, with her watching every brick of her empire crumble because she built it on my foundation. The doorbell rang at 9:06 p.m. This time I opened it. Melissa stood there in gym clothes, leggings, oversized hoodie, no makeup, hair in a messy bun. The real her, the one she used to be when we were 26 and struggling to pay rent. She looked tired, but not remorseful, just irritated. Jason, she sighed, brushing past me like she still had a place in my home. I didn't say come in, I muttered. She turned sharply, hands on her hips. Oh, cut the drama. We need to talk like adults. I stayed silent, crossing my arms. She walked to the kitchen island like she owned the place, like nothing had happened. I made a mistake, she began, voice low, calm, rehearsed. I got carried away. Travis and I. It was nothing serious. You know how business trips go. One thing led to another. One thing led to 5 months of hotel rooms? I said, pulling out my phone. I tapped once and slid it across the counter to her. She looked down. Her face went still. The screen showed a photo, Her kissing Travis in our guest room, time-stamped and dated. Then a second photo. Then a third. She flinched. You were spying on me? You were cheating in my house. That did it. Her tone flipped like a switch. Oh, don't act like some poor victim now. You haven't touched me in months. You're always working, always traveling, always so damn perfect. It's exhausting, Jason. I blinked. So your solution was to sleep with your employee and turn me into a joke at your party? You embarrassed yourself when you stormed out like some wounded teenager. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. No apology. No guilt. Just deflection. Every sentence she spoke felt like a dagger wrapped in silk. I built everything you have, I said, my voice low, shaking. Your company, your connections, your FING brand. You were nothing but an idea until I invested in you. And now you think that gives you the right to own me? She barked. I didn't own you. I trusted you. She laughed. Laughed. Oh, please. You think because you threw money at me you deserve loyalty? You think being rich makes you interesting in bed? Don't flatter yourself. That one cut deep. But I didn't flinch. I'm pulling out, I said. From the company. 70% gone. I've already frozen the accounts you use, canceled your cards, and blocked access to the villa in Capri. Her jaw dropped. You can't do that. I already did. Her eyes widened with a panic I hadn't seen before. Not because she lost me, because she lost the benefits that came with being with me. The beach houses, the designer wardrobe, the first-class lifestyle. This is war then, she whispered. No, I said calmly. This is consequence. She stood there frozen. For the first time in years, Melissa had nothing to say. No snide comment, no manipulation, no fake tears. I'll have my assistant send movers for your things, I said, walking toward the door. You can leave your key on the counter. She stormed past me, muttering curses under her breath, slamming the door behind her so hard that one of the framed photos rattled off the wall and cracked. I stared at the broken glass on the floor. Fitting. Our marriage, just like that frame, was shattered beyond repair. The next morning hit like a slow-moving train. Not loud, not violent, just heavy, pressing on my chest like an invisible weight I couldn't shake off. Melissa didn't call. She didn't show up. She didn't even text. Instead, the world around me began to shift. At 9:42 a.m., I got an email from my firm's corporate attorney. Subject line, urgent media inquiry personal conduct allegation. By 10 o'clock, I knew something was brewing. By 10:07, it exploded. Headline, Gray and Company. Power couple implodes. Sources say founder emotionally abusive. Allegedly lacked intimacy. For years. She moved fast. Her PR machine was already at work, spinning our private collapse into a sob story where she was the victim. She claimed I was cold, absent, dismissive, emotionally unavailable, someone who never prioritized the relationship, and that she'd sought comfort elsewhere during a low point. Unbelievable. She'd twisted betrayal into branding, a chance to climb higher even while standing on the wreckage. I sat in my home office, eyes locked on the article, fists clenched, phone buzzing off the hook with calls from reporters, old friends, business partners. Everyone wanted a comment. I gave none. I didn't need to scream into the void to clear my name, because by noon, Travis's wife reached out. I'd forgotten he was married. I didn't even know her name, but she knew everything now and she wanted to talk. We met at a quiet bar in Santa Monica, the kind of place no paparazzi would think to look. Her name was Rachel Lang. Blonde, elegant, quiet, but you could see the fire behind her eyes, the same one I felt burning in mine. She didn't waste time. I've known for 2 months, she said, sipping her coffee like it was poison. He changed his passwords, started working late, got new cologne. I knew, but your wife, she just confirmed everything. How? Rachel pulled out her phone, scrolled through screenshots, showed me photos of Travis and Melissa, intimate ones, different angles than the ones I had, clearly taken at different times. She's been sending them to him, on purpose, taunting me. I stared at the screen. Melissa, draped in one of my old shirts, smirking at the camera while lying in a hotel bed. My shirt. Why are you showing me this? I asked, my voice dry. Because I want them both to suffer, Rachel said simply. And I thought you might feel the same. I didn't answer right away. I just nodded slowly. We agreed to coordinate. Quietly. Not out of spite. Not even for revenge. But to take back control from people who thought they could destroy lives and keep smiling for the cameras. By 4 p.m., I was on a call with my legal team again. Every account, every business tie, every joint asset, frozen, reviewed, restructured. I transferred the naming rights of her new company to a silent holding entity under my control. A clause she forgot I had inserted when I funded it. That night, she called again. The name flashed across my screen. I let it ring. Then another message came in. If you don't stop this, I'll make sure everyone believes you were the one who cheated. Don't test me. Still playing games. Still underestimating me. But the truth? I didn't need to fight her anymore. Because her world, the fake, glittering tower she built with my help, was already beginning to crack. And this time, I wasn't holding it up. 3 days after that message, everything began to fall apart. Not for me, but for her. The first crack came quietly. At 8:17 a.m., Melissa's business manager resigned. No warning. Just a curt email. Effective immediately, I will no longer be representing Ms. Gray or her interests. He was the one who handled her brand deals, her influencer contracts, the media appearances she obsessed over. Without him, her schedule fell apart like a game of Jenga yanked from the bottom. At 10:04 a.m., Rachel sent me a video. It showed Travis leaving Melissa's place. Shirtless again, this time with a duffel bag and what looked like my Rolex on his wrist. A gift I got for myself after closing my first $10 million deal. Now worn by the clown who had the nerve to call me impotent. Rachel's caption read, "Guess he's moving in. Enjoy the fireworks." By noon, Melissa's company, Gray & Company, PR, was in chaos. I had filed a cease and desist regarding the use of the original company name and branding, which I legally owned. I'd let her borrow it to help her get started. A technicality at the time. A landmine now. She tried to call. I didn't answer. By 3 p.m., I got a call from her assistant, crying. "Jason, please, she's losing it." She smashed the office mirror, threw her laptop at the wall. "She's blaming everyone." I hung up. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel good either. What I felt was done. At 5:46 p.m., the final blow landed. One of the major investors, my contact, the one I'd brought in from overseas, publicly pulled out. They released a press statement filled with polite phrasing, but the message was clear. They didn't want to associate with drama. Her drama. By 7 p.m., Melissa's social media accounts were flooded with rumors, hate, and speculation. Comments ranged from, "Queen, you deserve better, broken heart," to "homewrecker," and "guess money can't buy loyalty, huh?" And still, she said nothing. No apology. No accountability. Just silence. Until 10:15 p.m. I was in my kitchen when the building's front desk called. "Mr. Hale, there's a Ms. Gray here. Says it's urgent. She's refusing to leave unless you speak to her." I stared at the phone for a second. I thought about ignoring it. But part of me needed to see her again. Not out of longing, but for closure. "Send her up," I said. The elevator dinged. She walked in looking like a ghost. Hair wild. No makeup. A coat thrown over pajamas. The woman who used to float through galas like a goddess now looked small. For the first time in years, Melissa looked human. "I lost everything," she whispered, voice cracking. "You gave it away," I said. She stepped closer. "I know I messed up." Panicked. "I let Travis get in my head. But I never stopped loving you." I almost laughed. "Love? You stood there while an entire room laughed at me. You stood next to the man you were sleeping with while he humiliated me in front of your staff. That's not love." Her lip trembled. "Jason, please. I need you. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. You're the only person who's ever really seen me." "You're right," I said. I did see you. I just didn't realize I was looking at a stranger. She dropped to the floor, knees hitting the hardwood. I'll do anything, she begged. Anything. It was strange. I'd always imagined this moment, her broken, begging. But now that it was here, I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just the quiet calm that comes when the storm has passed. I hope you find peace, Melissa, I said, stepping back. But it won't be with me. And I closed the door. You know what's funny? After all the screaming, betrayal, media drama, and nights I couldn't sleep, it ended quietly. No more begging. No more text messages. No more threats or fake apologies. Just silence. It had been 8 days since Melissa dropped to her knees on my floor. 8 days since I shut the door on that chapter of my life. I didn't block her. I didn't need to. She stopped trying. I think part of her finally realized she couldn't guilt her way back into the life she'd thrown away. And me? I was finally starting to breathe again. It's strange when someone's presence stops haunting your space. Her perfume had faded from the bedsheets. Her voice didn't echo in my mind anymore. The house was still, peaceful, and mine again. I started waking up early. No alarm. No phone buzzing with emergencies or, "Babe, can you wire me this?" Texts. Just coffee. Music. My thoughts. I met with my therapist for the first time in 5 years. He asked me, "What do you miss most about her?" I thought about it for a while. Then I said, "The idea of her. Not the woman she really was. Because that's the truth, isn't it? We fall for the idea of someone, the potential, the curated image, the fantasy. And Melissa was good at building fantasies. She built a whole career on them. But the real woman, the one who lied, gaslit, cheated, and laughed while others humiliated me, that woman was never mine. Not truly. And once I let go of that illusion, I felt free. I got a message from Rachel Lang again. She just wrote, "He left, packed up and ran. Coward didn't even say goodbye." She didn't ask for anything else. We weren't allies anymore, just two survivors from the same crash. Her story would unfold in its own bitter way. I wished her luck. Meanwhile, the papers were signed. My legal team finalized the separation. Melissa walked away with the clothes on her back, her personal car, and whatever money was in her personal account, which wasn't much. I'd locked down everything else before she could get clever. She tried to contest it at first, but once her legal bills started piling up, she folded. The villa in Capri? Mine. The Malibu house? Mine. Her PR agency? Dissolved. It was like she never existed in my world. Like a storm that passed and took its chaos with it. But healing? That was the hard part. I didn't want to become bitter. I didn't want to walk around suspicious of every woman who smiled at me or said the right things. I wanted to be wiser, not colder. So I did something that scared me. I started writing again. Not for anyone else, for myself. Just raw thoughts, emotions, realizations. I wrote about the betrayal, the shame, the humiliation, and slowly, something began to shift. I started forgiving myself. Not for trusting her, that was never the mistake. Trusting someone you love isn't weakness. The real mistake was ignoring the signs, dismissing the gut feeling, accepting crumbs when I'd built the whole damn table. I even went back to that event space, the one where she let them mock me. I stood outside the glass doors, hands in my pockets, just watching it in silence. And then I walked away. That place didn't hold power over me anymore. Neither did she. And that silence, the kind that used to feel so suffocating, it started to feel like peace. Like maybe, just maybe, the worst was behind me. I used to think freedom looked like a private jet, a corner office, or waking up in a beachfront villa with the sound of the ocean outside your window. I was wrong. Real freedom is quiet. It's waking up and not feeling like you owe anyone an explanation. It's looking at your phone and seeing nothing. No drama. No begging. No manipulation. Just space. It's that first sip of black coffee at sunrise and realizing the world hasn't ended. I took time off work. First a week, then another. My partners were worried at first, but I reminded them that I had built the damn company. They owed me some air. Jared, my assistant, handled the emails. I didn't open my laptop for 10 days straight. Instead, I drove. Just drove. No destination, no plan. I took Highway 1 up the coast with the windows down and my playlist loud. I stopped at places Melissa would have scoffed at: old diners, dive bars, roadside motels. Places that smelled like real people. Places where no one called me sir or asked for a selfie. One night, in a little town near Big Sur, I ended up at a bonfire by the beach. Strangers passed me a drink. Someone played guitar. And I sat there watching the flames dance, thinking, this is real. This is mine. I didn't need red carpets, Instagram posts, or being called power couple goals by strangers who didn't know us. All I needed was truth. And I hadn't had that in a long time. There was a woman there, Leah. She worked at the bookstore in town. Nothing glamorous. She wore faded jeans, had ink-stained fingers from organizing shelves all day, and spoke like she had nothing to prove. When I told her what I'd been through, she didn't react the way people in my world did. She didn't gasp or offer pity. She just said, "That kind of betrayal isn't about you. It's about who she was before you ever walked in her life." That hit me harder than any therapy session. We didn't hook up. That wasn't the point. She wasn't a rebound or a bandage. She was just real, and I hadn't realized how rare real was until I was buried in lies for years. We talked until 2 a.m. about books, regret, healing, the kind of conversations Melissa never had time for, unless a camera was rolling. When I left the next morning, Leah handed me a book, The Things You Leave Behind. Inside was a note. It's not what you walk away from, it's what you walk toward. I drove home lighter. Back in the city, my house felt different. Still empty, but in a way that felt full of possibility now, not ghosts. I started writing more. Journaling became late-night essays. Essays became a manuscript. I didn't know if I'd ever publish it. That didn't matter. What mattered was that I was finally telling my story, not hers. No edits, no filters, no branding, just the truth. And I started reconnecting with people I'd pushed away during my marriage. Old friends, my younger brother, people who told me they never liked Melissa but were too afraid to say it. One of them said, "You look lighter now." I smiled, because I wasn't just healing. I was becoming myself again, the version of me that existed before the world got flashy, before love turned into strategy, and marriage turned into a PR stunt. I was walking towards something new. And this time, I wasn't dragging a liar behind me. If you had told me a year ago that my life would be unrecognizable by now, I would have laughed. Too confident, too settled in the illusion of control. But life doesn't care about your calendar. Crashes through your front door when you're not looking, breaks the things you love most, and then hands you a mirror. That mirror, the one I tried to avoid for years, showed me a man who had built everything but himself. I had the homes, the company, the name. But somewhere in the chase to build a future with Melissa, I had stopped building me. Losing her? That was a fire. But the truth? I needed to burn. So what did I learn? That betrayal isn't just about lies or infidelity. It's about disrespect, quiet and compounding over time. It's about the moments you dim your light to keep the peace. The times you bite your tongue when your gut screams otherwise. The jokes at your expense that go too far but you laugh anyway. The excuses you tell yourself just to hold the picture together. You don't lose a relationship all at once. You lose it in inches. And then one day the floor gives out. I also learned that power means nothing if you're giving it away to someone who doesn't value it. I gave Melissa control over my time, my money, my reputation, and worst of all, my peace. But she didn't steal it. I handed it to her. And when I finally stopped, when I reclaimed what was mine, that's when the healing really began. I don't hate her anymore. Hate is too heavy. I think, in some twisted way, Melissa did what she thought she had to do. She wanted the fairy tale, the spotlight, the worship, and when I stopped feeding that illusion, she went looking for someone else who would. And Travis? He was just the mirror she needed, reflecting everything shallow back at her. I hear they didn't last. Two egos fighting for attention can't survive in the same room for long. These days, I live quieter, smarter, slower. I sold the Malibu house. I didn't need the extra space anymore. Too many memories in those walls. I moved into a smaller place just outside the city. A little more grounded. It has a view of the hills and a porch where I drink coffee in the mornings. No one laughs at me here. No one whispers behind my back. No one calls me the 1-minute man. Because that was never the truth. That was her weapon. Her way of shrinking me so she could feel tall. But I don't live in her shadow anymore. Sometimes people ask if I'll ever get married again. Maybe. But if I do, it'll be with someone who loves me when the cameras aren't rolling. Someone who sees me, not the dollar signs, not the headlines, not the curated life. Just me. And if I never find that, I'm still okay. Because I found myself. And that's more than I ever had when I was with her. If you're reading this and you've been through something like I have, if you're still staring at the broken pieces, wondering how it all fell apart, let me tell you something. You don't need to fix the picture. You need to walk away from the frame. Build a new one. Stronger, cleaner, honest. And this time, don't let anyone paint themselves in unless they've earned it. Because your peace is priceless. And no one deserves to laugh while stealing it from you. Jason Hale, survivor, builder, free man.